Warning: the following contains extremely graphic descriptions of ancient torture methods. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Top 5 most brutal torture methods in human history. Throughout history, mankind has devised some unimaginably cruel punishments. Today, we reveal 5 of the most horrifying torture methods ever used. These are not for the faint-hearted. 1. Keel hauling. The pirate's punishment. Often romanticized as swashbuckling adventurers, pirates had a dark side, especially when it came to discipline. If a crew member was caught stealing, defying orders, or committing treason, they could be sentenced to keel hauling. The prisoner's hands and feet were tied, and they were thrown overboard, dragged underneath the ship from one side to the other. The bottom of the ship was covered in sharp barnacles, slicing deep into the skin as the body was pulled along. To make matters worse, the salt water seared their wounds, causing excruciating pain. Many didn't survive, drowning or bleeding out before the punishment even ended. 2. The rat torture, a medieval nightmare. Used across Europe during the Middle Ages, this torture was as psychological as it was physical. The victim was tied flat on a wooden table. A metal container with live rats was placed on their abdomen, and the container was then heated with fire or burning coals. Desperate to escape the heat, the rats would begin to gnaw through the victim's flesh, burrowing deep into the body. It was a slow, agonizing process that often made victims confess even before the torture began. 3. Elephant execution, crushed by beasts. Used in parts of ancient India and Southeast Asia, this method involved trained elephants, not to perform tricks, but to execute. Under royal command, elephants would crush a person to death with calculated precision. Sometimes they would be ordered to break limbs first, dragging the torture out before delivering the final blow. These were often public events meant to instill fear and obedience among the population. 4. Blood eagle, the Vikings' winged death. One of the most terrifying torture methods in history came from the Vikings. The victim's hands and legs were tied tightly to prevent movement. A sharp axe was used to split open the back, exposing the ribs and spine. Each rib was carefully broken and pulled outward, and the lungs were lifted out, resembling a pair of wings. To intensify the agony, salt or spices were sometimes rubbed into the open wounds. The victim remained alive for much of the procedure, enduring unimaginable suffering. 5. Saw torture, death by the blade. Used in Europe and parts of the Middle East, this method was as cruel as it was methodical. The victim was hung upside down, allowing blood to stay in the brain and prolong consciousness. Executioners would then saw the body in half, starting at the groin and cutting downward. The process could take hours, and the victim would often remain alive through most of it. A horrifying punishment meant to terrorize onlookers and deter rebellion.